Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy, and the government seems to be bringing some transparency, at least to the last administration, but still those Epstein files are nowhere to be found.
Yes, and I'm sorry to anybody that missed me on the Spanish show. I had an appointment, a meeting that went super long, and I actually didn't make it back till about 8:40, so here we are, though.
Well, I don't think they missed you because you weren't there.
True, but so sorry to anybody that was coming from the Spanish channel.
And our audio's working, so that's a great thing. Okay, let's get into the first story. And this was a pretty big story of transparency involving Tulsi Gabbard, the Russiagate hoax, and a lot of other classified documents coming out, kind of exposing the U.S. government for what they are.
Yes, so Benny Johnson says...
Or what they were.
Yes, Benny Johnson says, don't miss this, the single most important moment of transparency in U.S. government history. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just declassified proof of treason by President Obama. I have never in my life seen the intelligence community declassify proof of their own crimes against the American people. The evidence is astonishing. U.S. Intel admitted Russia did not hack the 2016 election. Obama pushed the Russia hoax to sabotage Trump. The Steele dossier was fake, but Comey used it anyways. Brennan and Clapper entrenched the hoax deep into the intel community and punished whistleblowers. Corporate media was used to launder fake government propaganda relentlessly. The Russia probe was an insurrectionist plan to take down Trump. They knew Russia didn't interfere in the election, yet they fabricated intelligence to justify a years-long effort to overthrow Trump.
So this is evidence of a complete coup within the United States government on multiple levels here. The fact that they're actually releasing this is huge, but I almost think it's a little bit of a distraction because it's a ghost town when it comes to Epstein. They're still trying to say these files aren't existing or they are existing. We're going to release them tomorrow, release them right away. Oh no, they're gone. That being said, this is a good move. And I was thinking about this Epstein thing today, and I'm not going to support Trump if I still think he's sitting in a trap, but if he's not and he doesn't release these files at some point or something doesn't happen with him, it's a shame because he's run almost a perfect administration. He's doing everything he's promised. He's having major government transparency, but we're not going to forget about this Epstein thing. This Epstein thing, it just isn't about a couple of victims. It's about a systemic problem with the government and global elites on a larger scale. So, yeah. Like I said, I still think it's a trap, so we'll wait and we'll see for now.
And you want to see how the other side of the media is covering it from Politico? So from Politico, Gabbard threatens prosecution against Obama administration officials for treasonous conspiracy in scare quotes.
But it was never a conspiracy. We already knew a lot of this, but we didn't have the documentation to prove it. Now they have documentation that they can take it to court. There is one problem with this, though. Do you know the problem? Earlier this year, the Democrats were saying Trump shouldn't have immunity. The Supreme Court ruled if he's doing his duty as president, he gets basic immunities for things. And I said at the time, Trump's not the one that needs immunity. It's mainly Biden, especially Obama, for all the drone strikes and all the Russiagate hoax using the CIA and things like this. And lo and behold, what happened today? It's going to be hard to prosecute the main people at the top, like the two former U.S. presidents, because they have immunity. Why do they have immunity? Because the Supreme Court ruled that Trump had immunity. Mm-hmm. So now all former presidents have immunity. And I had always said every former president had committed major crimes. Trump was probably the least guilty of that of everybody else. So definitely George W. Bush, Barack Obama, they were all extremely happy when Donald Trump got immunity because so did they.
But from what I remember from Robert Barnes, your favorite constitutional lawyer, it is important for presidents to have that immunity because they have to do these critical decisions in the moment, and they're the top of the top. There's no like further up other than kind of the Supreme Court, but still the president is the one that is charged with that, which is why he got selected by the people.
Well, I do agree. And even if Obama gets off the hook and even if Joe Biden gets off the hook, we still got Hillary Clinton. She didn't win that election, so she was never president. She would be a prime target for something like this. Her fingerprints were all over the Russia hoax. She's in these files. That's who you go after. That's who we want to see on a platter.
The table.
Oh, yeah.
He
I'm always
keeps
banging
banging
on
the
the
table.
table. I get so excited talking politics.
But yes, I mean, either way, it is good that, I mean, information is coming out and that this years-long hoax and years-long, I mean, administrative treason almost, is being uncovered just so people that were, the people that, sorry, my brain is not working, people that continue to say that it wasn't true, that everything that they were doing was 100%, you know, up on the up and up, it wasn't.
Yeah, this is the kind of transparency we want to see, and this is the kind of transparency Donald Trump's kind of slowly been rolling out. The problem is the Epstein thing that's where we really want to see the transparency. So I really do hope that thing is a trap. Let's go into
Do you want me to read into it or no?
Yeah, you can read it. Oh, no, we got a ton of stories, actually.
Okay. And Rafa says, hello, Rafa, and perdón por no aparecerme hoy antes en la noche en el otro show, but thank you so much for being here as well. And Pam Epson says, hi guys, hope you're both okay today. It's very late in the UK, 4:20 a.m. Go to sleep. I have been out tonight till the early hours.
I didn't know she watched our political show as well. That's great.
Yes, so thank you so much for being
Because she's always
here.
watching my pop culture show in the morning and leaving a comment.
Yes.
Which nobody hardly watches, so thank you.
Yes, thank you. But moving on, hold on, there we go. From Benny Johnson, CNN is at a loss for words as new polling shows President Trump's approval has gone up despite the Epstein crisis. This one surprised me a bit. You might think his approval ratings were going down with the Republicans. If anything, they're going up.
And this actually concerned me a little bit about, this is the first time I was concerned about this Epstein files now. I still think it was a trap, but when Donald Trump's notorious for watching CNN and Fox News, and they're having these polls showing his numbers up, trying to push that he's doing the right thing. So if he's not getting a lot of independent media, or he's not getting a lot of pushback in his inner circle or his inner bubble right now, and he's just watching CNN and Fox News, and they're saying, oh, your ratings are up, your approval ratings are up because you're not releasing the Epstein files. That's a bunch of garbage.
Well, I think they're saying despite him not releasing them, but
Still, he needs to wake up, because he almost did the same thing with the jibby jab during the jibby jab era. He eventually came around. This Epstein file is starting to become one of those things. He usually is good with course correction, but he has so much on his plate right now. So.
And look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down, Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% were Republicans.
And I do like this announcer. He's on a liberal station, but he's always the one having to tell the liberals, oh, Donald Trump's poll numbers are going up, blah, blah, blah. And now he's just gleeful about it. He used to pretend like he was mad, and yeah. Because we did have quite a few clips from him in the past.
yeah.
Anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not. You just proved that not every.
We can kind of leave it there. And I will say this, his poll ratings aren't up because he's not releasing the Epstein files, or despite it. There is so many good things happening right now. He has been winning on almost every level. So a lot of people might just not be thinking about the Epstein files, particularly, especially moderates or people that aren't really knee deep into politics here. So, I mean, if they're just thinking generally, yeah, he's doing everything right. The economy's doing very well. His overseas policies, everything seems to be going well for him.
Because also the Epstein thing is more of independent media, online, terminally online kind of thing for a lot of people. That those are the kinds of people that really care about it. Which I'm saying, I mean, yes, you should care about it because number one, cover up, etc. But normies that have to go to work, have kids, have a bunch of other things to do, go to church, don't have time to watch 24/7 news all the time. I don't think they're as invested in the Epstein thing as most people are.
Because I'm very invested in politics. The integrity of the government and government bodies that have a lot of power over other countries is very important to me. That's why the transparency of these Epstein files were important, especially implicating former politicians and power players on the world stage. That being said, for the normie, it's not going to affect their pocketbooks. It's not going to affect their kids. It's not going to affect things like this. The economy, the tariffs seem to be working. He's renegotiating the global structure of the economy.
Immigration.
Which
was one of the main points why people voted the way they did.
And they see the immigration. The liberals are trying to say, oh, the majority of Americans are against immigration. That's not the case. Everybody in America is looking at these other countries where mass immigration is wide open right now, and they're saying, wow, we're the only country actually doing something. So...
Yeah. And Pam Epson says, it will take a while to build up your subs, but you will do all good in the end. Thank you for the vote of confidence. And
hopefully. She's more confident than I am at this point. Our Spanish station is doing fantastic, but this English station, because we broadcast out of Mexico, it just doesn't push us to an English audience. That's also why we're trying to do more guest appearances on other people's shows.
And also more edited videos as well. And apparently Pam Epson was out... having a good time, so hopefully you did have a good time. And also says, we will get our Trump 2 in the UK next election. His name is Nigel Farage. I do follow USA politics too.
I really like Nigel Farage at the beginning. He's still very good, don't get me wrong. He's better than any other option you have now, so I really do hope he gets in, and I think he will win in a landslide. I also like the way Tommy Robinson is trying to push Nigel Farage and that party, but... the other day, they had the Grape Gang hearings and testimony, or basic testimonies from former victims. Every party was there in the UK except the Reform Party, which was absolutely shocking to me. So hopefully they make a little bit of a course correction. But I do agree. I like Farage. He's still a bit of a politician, but he's the best option you have by far, unless Tommy Robinson goes in.
I think he'll take a little bit longer to entice himself to the rest of the people, because they're still calling him a white supremacist. So
yeah. And I did watch. You took a nap when you got home for a couple of minutes before you got ready, but I was watching Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, and that was a fascinating conversation. Nick Fuentes is an admitted racist. And Candace Owens is a black female. They had a mutual respect for each other, so they were able to conversate. And they went into some really, really touchy subjects. Nick Fuentes was against interracial marriage. Candace Owens is interracial marriage. Yeah. So the fact that they even touched on those subjects was surprising. Nick Fuentes was really touchy when he was asked about his personal relationships. He tried to brush it off.
His tendencies, let's just put it that way.
Well, he brushed it off by saying, well, I can't live with a wife and kids. I'm used to being single, blah, blah, blah. And then Candace asked the second question. He's like, look, I was canceled at 18 years old. I'm all over online. If I make a Tinder account, people are going to snap it and then make fun of me online. It's hard to meet people, even male friends. I can't have any male friends because they will stab you in the back. People pay him to stab you in the back. So it was really an interesting dynamic and conversation. It was like 2 hours. I usually watch things on 2 times speed, but I'll tell you, that one I actually watched in regular speed. It's not actually on Candace Owens' YouTube. It's actually kind of being streamed by other stations that they shouldn't really be kind of putting it on YouTube, and they are, because Nick Fuentes is generally banned from YouTube. Mm-hmm. So finding his content is hard, but somebody had the whole 2-hour conversation up.
And I do think it's important to have, even though they might be uncomfortable, etc., to have those debates and conversations. That is how democracy is supposed to work, and that is how actual education of people is supposed to work, by sharing ideas that might be super controversial, but by blocking it and censoring it, it doesn't do anybody any good, and it actually hides those ideas further and deeper down. So
yeah.
And Pam Epson says, yes, he's our only option at the moment. You are right, guys. But I mean, yes.
But there's at
least the UK has that. Canada and Pierre Poilievre seem to be dwindling further and further down. So.
But it's not as bad as you might think, because people are waking up. You can see in the streets, people are protesting, people are pushing back against it. Mm-hmm. In Canada, the same thing happened. We end up leaving Canada. We now live in Mexico City because of the way politics went there and the crazy, insane laws that were there. But the people were waking up. It was just a shame they voted the wrong way just by a hair in the last election. I'm hoping Canada will change, but
maybe they didn't and things were moved around, but that's where I'll leave that.
UK politics is a lot like Canadian politics. You don't just vote for the president, though. You have to vote for the
Prime
party.
Minister.
You have to vote for the party, and it's a lot harder to gain power in the Canadian and British system than the American.
It's pouring rain right now.
Oh, yeah, it's like a monsoon out there. Okay, let's keep going.
And this one, I wasn't sure which one of them you wanted me to go to. But so Elon Musk says, yeah, where is it? And then Mariana Fall, do you want me to read through all this?
Yeah, read a little bit.
Okay. So now I have to go to this one. What happened to all the evidence against Epstein? The FBI's chain of custody for evidence is a meticulously documented process designed to ensure the integrity, authenticity, and admissibility of physical or digital items from the moment they are collected until they are presented in court or disposed of. It serves as a chronological record that tracks every interaction with the evidence, preventing tampering, contamination, loss, or unauthorized access. This protocol is critical in criminal investigations, as any break in the chain can render evidence inadmissible or undermine a case. The process is governed by strict guidelines outlined in resources like the FBI's Handbook of Forensic Services and aligns with the broader federal standards from the Department of Justice.
Okay, that's pretty good. The point of this is, where is the evidence? And we know how meticulous the FBI, CIA, organizations like this are with that evidence. And James Comey, they had a whole case with Ghislaine Maxwell. So where is all this evidence, and why aren't we releasing it to the public or some special counsel if they're going to withhold it? Need us not forget, if I still think Trump is sitting in a trap, I keep saying that, but if he's not, we need to hold his feet to the fire on this. If he gets in the habit of saying, oh, I don't have to do this, or I don't have to do that, even though I promised and I said I would, it's going to become a habit, and he's going to get drunk off of power. We need to hold him accountable.
And his feet are already swollen.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job. I will give it to him. I am a Trump supporter, but that being said, I'm going to still hold his feet to the fire and hope this is a trap he's setting up.
And that is the way that anybody should treat anybody else in government and their own governments as well. Like, it's not good to completely hate, but it's not good to completely support as well, because then you lose track of, at the end of the day, the government is always the one that has the most power. So
yeah, and it's very important right now, especially in Britain, to kind of hold Nigel Farage's feet to the fire, and for the people to let him know what direction they kind of want him to shift in, much like what happened with Trump. So I think Nigel Farage, like Trump, is tuned in to the masses through social media. So if a lot of people, independent content creators, people that watch independent content creators make comments, this does have an impact on politicians like Farage and like Donald Trump. Okay, let's go into the next article here.
Well, not article, post from Input Output says, what if trust didn't come from the government, banks, or institutions, but from code? Charles Hoskinson sits down with Sean Ryan show.
Yeah, Sean Ryan show is pretty good. I do think he's the CIA asset. That being said, this was an interesting interview. I hadn't got a chance to watch the whole thing, but after watching this, it brings up some very good concepts. And they're trying to get us into this digital age of digital cryptocurrency, digital ID. They want to track everybody. And I've always said that this new era of technology should be used on the government itself. Okay.
Why did it bring me to YouTube?
So crypto is just an abstraction. It's a set of consensus rules, and it uses a blend of social processes and mathematics and distributed computing and cryptography to basically create something that then acts as this trust layer. It has three core properties. It's immutable, it's time-stamped, and it's irreversible. Everything you put in, you can't change it. You know when you put it in, and everybody can see it. It's auditable. And it doesn't seem like that's valuable, but it turns out it's one of the most valuable things in the world. Trust is one of the most valuable things in the world, and you know it when you're missing it.
Yeah, and when I think of that, when he says trust is the most valuable thing in the world, I'm not thinking other citizens I can't trust. I'm thinking the government is what we all need to be able to trust. The government needs to bring transparency into their own halls of power so they can regain the trust of the people, because right now the people and the governments are not on the same alignment at all.
Well, I agree that we should have transparency within the government, but I don't think people should trust the government. There should be an inherent distrust of the government to be able to hold them accountable as a people.
Yeah, but you need a certain level of trust. So if you don't trust the government at all,
like
then,
here.
Yeah. we do need transparency. Blockchain technology is a great way to get that transparency on government spending and other things in that kind of vein.
I'm still really murky on how crypto works, and I just don't like the concept is, I think, a little bit too far out for me to fully grasp.
Well, yeah,
Still.
it's mainly blockchain technology. It's less about crypto and the way crypto uses blockchain, so you can kind of follow everything in the chain of custody of where everything
Like,
is
for
at.
example, what is blockchain? I don't understand it. I don't understand the things.
So if I have digital currency, give it to you, you give it to him, you give it to him, you'll be able to follow the chain of custody for that. But it works for more than just currency. It would work for a lot of other things in society. So say they had $1 billion into healthcare, you would be able to track every dollar within healthcare, where it went down the stream, what contractors it went to, things of this nature. So it would have complete transparency.
But then why do people say that you're able to kind of hide assets within crypto?
Because you can have a crypto wallet, and then nobody can take that from you.
But then where's the chain? See, this is why I don't understand these things. I'm not a finance person. I'm a cultural battle person.
Because with your crypto wallet, it's a number, it's not a person. So only if they get digital ID and your crypto wallet's attached to a digital ID, then they'll know exactly who that person is. But as of right now, if you have a crypto wallet and it just has a bunch of numbers in that wallet, you can track those numbers, where they go, how much is in the account, but you don't know whose it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going here.
I'm sure Pam and Rafa understand it way more than I do.
I'm sure Rafa does, but even better than I do.
But I'm not ashamed of admitting when I don't understand something. Okay, so from GAG, because I can't say the actual name, but go follow them if you don't.
GAG.
GAG. GAG. Breaking, the White House has officially terminated the LGBTQIA2SP+ youth unaliving hotline. The specialized services was how one of the subcontractors, the Trevor Project, earned them approximately $50 million from the government. A senior administration official said the money for services for LGBTQ young people has not been cut, but rather reallocated.
And one moment, this is an important part of this. The money is not being cut; it's being reallocated. $50 million was given to a corrupt part of the organization, which was doing very dirty things with this, that was hurting children overall. So just reallocating the money is very fair. And I think Trump is very aware, and the administration is very aware, when they take money away from organizations like this, maybe reallocation is the best thing to kind of have the talking point to say back to the community, no, we didn't take the money away, we just reallocated it.
And now it's actually providing a service for a larger pool of people, not just very specific one.
Yeah.
So reallocated to the general 988 services. The OMB noted that the budget provides the same amount for 988 services as was provided in previous years. It does not, however, grant taxpayer money to a chat service where children are encouraged to embrace radical gender ideology by counselors without consent or knowledge of their parents. Everyone who contacts the 988 Lifeline will continue to receive access to skilled, caring, culturally competent crisis counselors who can help with an ending of life, substance misuse, or mental health crises, or any other kind of emotional distress. Anyone who calls the Lifeline will continue to receive compassion and help, the agency said. And GAG did a whole expose on the Trevor Project a while ago. I actually spoke about it in one of my Spanish shows. And I'll just let you read the title to kind of understand what was going on. But they were essentially it permitted children to have weird conversations with adults under the guise of helping them and supporting them. But anybody could join that chat, and a lot of predators were in the chat as well. And this is known through not only GAG, but also parents that went and checked it out themselves, pretending to be children. And if you didn't know, GAG is a bunch of sane, normal, common sense gay people that want to stop the insanity of the activism and the ideology that has been infecting their lives.
Okay, and the next story was very interesting to me. I seen this. Let's go right into it.
I'm just going to show the title of what Trevor's space, according to the GAG investigation, is. So you can read it. I can't actually say the words that are there, but if you're interested in it, I'll put it in the description because it is very interesting what they found. It's a really long article.
Okay.
Yes, that was it. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. and then we'll go into this.
I'm surprised you didn't know this.
Well, yeah, I did know this, but I didn't. It really reinforced this fact when I seen the actual experiment. I had never seen an experiment in real life, but I knew they were lined with plastic, but then seeing it, it really just hit home with me.
Do you want me to read it? Or do they?
No, let's just play it.
Oh, they do.
I watched it earlier, but it was very interesting.
Is there music?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
So I'm going to take the paint off the can here. So we've got the paint off now.
And he's going to dissolve the can, and there's going to basically all cans are lined with plastic bags.
The aluminum.
And that's the Coke inside. That's why it's still black. He's going to dump it out right now, and then you'll be able to see it's a clear plastic bag. And that's the microplastics and things like that.
Yes, cans are lined with plastic.
So this is what I'm talking about, guys. When you think you're drinking from a can, you're not drinking from a can. You're drinking from a plastic bag that's inside of a can. And you're getting all those microplastics, those hormone disrupting chemicals, and all those negative things absorbing into your drink. So avoid the cans and go for glass, stainless steel, or copper.
Yeah, and you need to remember when these cans are in transport and everything else, they're not put in a cooler. So that it's very hot environments typically when they're going to and fro. And so these microplastics are really leaching into this stuff. Also, you have to think a lot of these plastic have a lot of sugar and some are acidic. So it's really going to corrode into that plastic, making the microplastics more accessible to your body.
And Rafa says, I wonder if soda cans have always had that plastic. No, before cans were not lined with same plastic. A lot of like food cans are also lined with that. If you kind of scratch at them, you can see it.
But they're not safe.
But because of botulism and fears of botulism, which is what happens if things are not properly canned, and botulism is also the toxin that old ladies inject into their faces to look younger with Botox. But because of fears of botulism and regulations, they started lining all of them essentially.
Well, yeah, the older cans used to rust when they didn't line them. That being said, it's two bad situations, I guess.
Yeah, just glass or stainless steel.
Yeah, glass is the best. And the reason they're no longer using glass, if you remember, there was milkmen that delivered glass bottles to your house, things of this nature. When the plastic industry came up, there was a huge propaganda campaign to kind of phase glass out.
And they would say that plastic is a lot cleaner and safer at the time.
Plastics unrecyclable. At least 90% of plastics are. Most people don't know that. We have covered it on the show. It has a little number on the bottom of the plastic, what kind of plastic it is, and the majority of those numbers are just unrecyclable, and that stamp is on there to make people feel good. Okay.
And Rafa says, that's why I prefer the glass bottle Coca-Cola that they serve at taquerias, yes, or Boeing, or any other jarritos, any other drink, national drinks. But I actually want to prove a point. We were talking about Coca-Cola in Mexico and people thinking that, I have a tiny can here, people thinking that, like Americans and other people thinking that we use sugar cane here in Coca-Cola. And it says carbonated, so the ingredients are carbonated water, added sugars, and it says sugars, and high fructose corn syrup, and then all of the rest of the stuff. And it still uses caramel number 6 as well, so not the best. So yeah, I just wanted to disprove that thing that I keep hearing, oh, the Mexican Coke has regular sugar. No, the one they produce specifically for export towards the US has regular sugar. Here it does use high fructose corn syrup. Now, maybe less because it's mixed, but still.
Okay, and I think the Canadian election may be the next one.
Yes. So from Ryan Gertison, Canadian patriot, I'll say, here is the list of candidates for Battle River crowdfoot riding. This is now the second time Pierre Poilievre was specifically targeted by the longest ballot committee. This is quite clearly the election interference disguised as protesting.
I'm just going to preset this up because a lot of people aren't into Canadian politics. Basically, this has never gone on before. It happened for the first time in the last election, and they put 70 people on his original ballot. What we're about to show you is a list of the new ballot. Now they've made all the writing very small. On the actual ballot in real life, it's about 20 feet long because they have to make the names a lot bigger than what's going to be on the screen in a moment. So this is a way for them to rig elections. You're also going to see where Pierre Poilievre, that's who they want to keep in power as the leader of the opposition party. That's why they're specifically trying to rig this election. They're moving immigrants into this community en masse, the federal government is, and they're just putting a ton of people on the ballot so people won't be able to find his name. Okay, let's just play the list so people can kind of get an understanding.
Is there music or talking? Or
I don't
no?
think so.
Okay.
If there is, we can pause it.
No, there's no sound. And this just looks like the lists for also the Mexican election of judges, which is insane still.
And this isn't the final list. This is just the online list, so it's going to get longer. And usually the people just tick the first box if they can't find the name. So
No,
it gives
independent.
it gives the first person a huge advantage. And if we look, it doesn't really like.
There's Pierre.
Yeah, they're going to highlight that, and then it's going to keep going in a moment. So this is the candidate they're trying to rig the election against, and that's why they have him way down here in the middle of the ballot.
And he was the conservative candidate for this last election against Mark Carney, and he lost. So now he has to get reelected for his riding.
Yeah, and as of right now, that's the list of candidates. This is crazy. You usually have 3 or 4 people on a ballot. This is obviously election interference at its worst. Now, they're doing it legally, but still.
Well, and they're kind of saying that's what they're doing because they're saying they're protesting it. So in a way, yes, they're trying to, at least give an effect of something different going on in this one than all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then another crazy Canadian thing. Hold on, I lost it. There we go. So CBC News.
Yeah, I kind of grabbed this just to show the absolute lunacy of CBC. That's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's a propaganda arm of the Canadian government. The Canadian news organizations are some of the most propagandized in the world. It's insane. We lived in Canada. They're not. I used to teach at an MMA gym. There's not a bunch of white supremacists walking around everywhere, but they want to have you believe that.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to read a little bit?
People are very angry about the immigration that's happening in Canada. They're giving $81,000 tax-free to every refugee per year that come into the country, and that's more than most Canadian citizens make in 2 years.
And it might also be the fact that people that are more right-wing, I'll say, or conservative, care a little bit more about their health. So yes, they will be more in gyms and they will be more in like MMA clubs, but that doesn't mean that they have the same ideology as the man with the mustache.
No, what they're doing,
Mussolini.
what they're doing is they're trying to make moderates feel like if you say anything about immigration or anything about anybody of any other race for any reason, that they're going to put you in the newspaper or that this is you. And this has been their strategy for decades now, much longer than even the United States was doing it.
Do you want me to read into it? So
yeah, we're going to read it. This is a propaganda piece. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Yes. Tracking Canada's Fascist Fight Club, CBC's...
Oh, one moment. And before we go in, this is part of the reason we had to leave Canada. They were setting up special court systems where you wouldn't go in front of a judge, but a council, and that council would have the right to send you to jail or put $10,000 fines on you if you said any kind of hate speech. Hate speech is very, very, very broad in Canada, and that's why we keep warning people all around the world, if your country has hate speech laws, you need to get rid of them, because it's whoever is in power will dictate what is hateful speech.
Yes, and even for the people that vote for that or believe that hate speech is the thing, I believe freedom of speech is the most important core tenet of a working democracy or democracy-style republic, whatever you want to call it. But the problem is, as you say, people don't think further past beyond what their goals are. So
let's explain it for a moment. So, for instance, there was an incident where there was these fake mass graves in Canada. The government said this for about a decade. They refused to do any digs. It came out this entire thing was a hoax. they were about 4 weeks away from making it hate speech, which you would be arrested and jailed for if you said anything other than the mass grave hoax or the mass graves were real.
Yeah, contradicting the narrative.
The whole narrative fell apart in the end, and they weren't able to pass that legislation. But if it would have been passed, you would have been jailed for telling the truth, because the truth was considered hate speech by the government.
And it fell apart because of also international media that started highlighting how insane the story was. But there's still a lot of people that continue to kind of peddle that. But I will say what I was trying to say before is that for the people that believe in hate speech or that some speech should be censored, just think of after you pass that legislation, and especially, for example, in Canada, it is very hard to get rid of those sorts of that type of legislation once it's been implemented. What happens if the other party or the people that you think are the ones saying the hate speech get in, and then they start saying that what you believe and what you want to say is now banned, and now you can be jailed for your opinions as well. So I think a lack of foresight is one of the biggest problems.
Well, and
right
I've been saying this a lot about ICE. Donald Trump is investing billions of dollars into ICE permanent infrastructure, and with this Epstein thing coming up, it's making a huge fracture in his base. The midterms are coming up after that, and then after that, it's a new election. So if Donald Trump's successor doesn't win, they're going to come in there. The Democrats are going to come in there and now have billions of dollars of funding into ICE. They're not going to use it on immigration. They will use it on the citizens themselves. They attempted to do that during the last administration. The only problem was they weren't able to allocate the funds. Now they already have the funds allocated. They just need to switch the direction of the people they're trying to enforce them on.
And now here in Mexico, I mean, I keep warning about it in Spanish, and I'll do it in English now with Morena, which is a ruling party, the very leftist ruling party, now trying to pass the Telecommunications Act and talking more and more about free speech and implementing rules to combat free speech. Hate speech is one of the issues. Do you want me to read into it?
Yeah, let's read it. We were getting off track a little bit there.
Yes, you seem annoyed at me. But people say they like it when we talk more discussion-based. So that's what I'm trying to do. So, do you have your headphones up?
Oh, I thought it was, I wanted to listen very carefully to you. I can hear you through that.
CBC's Visual Investigations team reveals where some of Canada's white nationalist active clubs gather to prepare for violence. In public parks, gyms, and martial arts clubs where children take classes, some of Canada's most notorious white space supremacists are preparing for violence. The members of these fight clubs, known in those communities as active clubs, are hiding in plain sight as part of their recruitment and online propaganda.
I've trained at almost every fight club in Vancouver there, and the majority MMA club, and yeah, it's not any white nationalists, it's people from other countries, because Canada, especially Vancouver, is flooded with immigrants. So it's primarily immigrants in these places that they're saying
and they're mostly doing it just to train and for exercise. As part of their recruitment and online propaganda, they post videos of their training sessions, taking care to hide their faces and obscure their locations. But a month-long CBC visual investigation in collaboration with the Fifth Estate reveals exactly where some of these groups are training. It's effing unacceptable, said Kevin Mans, the owner of Niagara Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Welland, one of the martial arts studios CBC identified. I have built a team that is pluralistic. These guys are scum. Active clubs are part of the decentralized Man with a Mustache network that has grown globally in recent years, increasingly moving from online forums to real-world training groups and anti-immigration protests.
They make propaganda,
and they're just like putting all of those things all together and mixing them all together.
Yeah, they want to stop any of this before it even happens. That's the thing. Typically, young white males, they're scared that they're going to get into groups, especially at MMA gyms and places like this. This isn't really happening in mass, but they're trying to prevent it by putting propaganda out there. So people will feel guilty if they are white and they do go to these spaces.
And once again, it is an attack on masculinity itself as well. Nothing that guys do, they can like, or nothing they do and they want to do is now allowed. We also saw that in the US, they were saying that just working out was white
You typically want young males trained in athletics like this, especially MMA. They can protect people within society. When you're walking down the street, yeah, you can call the police, but you can only call the police after you've been victimized. So the assault has already been done. Very often, you're kind of relying on other citizens to step in. And if other citizens are scared, meek, and unwilling to step in because they're untrained, then you're going to have a lot of people becoming victims.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of defending yourself, from Wiretap Media, report home invasions are up 54% in the Toronto area, and experts advise the public to get a dog. And if an intruder enters your home, basically do nothing, because there's nothing you can do unless you want to be charged by the police.
Well, it was funny because a few months ago they were saying there's a spree of carjackings at people's homes, and the police were advising people to leave their car keys on their doorsteps
So
for the criminals.
So it wouldn't be as violent.
That's craziness. Okay, let's
Because
play
there's no right to self-defense in Canada.
Well, yeah, somebody came and tried to carjack somebody that had a Lamborghini. The Lamborghini owner had a gun.
A GUN.
He tried to defend himself from the carjackers. He was charged. So, not the carjackers.
Scarborough homeowner is speaking out after he says that he confronted an intruder in his home. This comes as Toronto police report a nearly 50% spike in residential robberies so far this year. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan joins us live. You know, those numbers are quite telling that anyone could become a victim. What are you supposed to do in these situations?
In this particular case, it's believed that.
And crime used to be extremely low in Canada. So, and for like home invasions go up 54%. This isn't just any crime, and crime doesn't just spike like that, especially home invasions. So this is coming from people coming from other countries, that this is normal behavior in their countries.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect entered the house through an unlocked door. The homeowners are in their 70s, retired couple in their 70s. Home is supposed to be your sanctuary. And when somebody violates that and gets into your private areas, it really is a violation of your sense of security. So the police are advising that you keep your doors locked. This man said that they typically kept their door open for the cool breeze to come into the house. Sadly, those days are gone. The best advice from the police is to make sure.
Shame. Canada used to be a high trust society where you could leave your doors unlocked at night, and you don't have a bunch of gates and fences around the property. We live in Mexico. Every single gate is going to every single house. An apartment complex is going to be gated. If you live in an apartment, there's going to be a guard at the door. Mm-hmm. So Canada seems to be heading in that direction.
For a while now.
Yeah.
And it is insane that you don't have the right to self-defense.
Yeah,
so,
that's the big thing. You have no right to self-defense.
Because it used to be a high-trust society, but now it's not.
If somebody enters your home, you're expected to let them take everything from your home, and you're supposed to leave the premises, which is crazy.
Yeah, you're supposed to run away.
Run away and call the police.
And the police takes forever to get there because they don't have resources, because high taxes don't even pay for that. Pam Epson says that's mad. I don't know to which story, but essentially all of them. Yes. Rafa says, some crazy reporter also said that milk is a symbol of rice supremacy. Well, rice supremacy sounds like it's from China.
We had that milk story yesterday where the Canadian government forces farmers to dump out tens of thousands of liters of milk every month. They're only allowed to have a certain amount of milk because the government is involved in price fixing and different corporate cartels. This is one of the good reasons why Trump trying to come into that country and break up these economic cartels is actually very good for small farmers. Because the power structure and the money structure in Canada becomes monopolized, where you have a few big players and a few big farms kind of dominating the market.
And Rafa says, here in Mexico is the same. We can have GUNs at home, but if you use it against a home intruder and don't prove that he wanted to end you, you go to jail.
Ugh, craziness.
And especially here, that's even more craziness. So we have two left. Should we go to RUM BLE?
Yeah, we're going to head over to RUM BLE for the final two stories. We just like to get the viewers used to going over there in case the jibby jab era happens again or some kind of war breaks out. We need a platform where we can have free speech, and we need people to be used to going over there at the end of our shows.
And because the next two stories are also kind of spicy.
Yeah,
so we
and
can't
the
have
last two
them
stories
here.
are kind of spicy. YouTube will typically censor us and throttle the channel.
But thank you so much to Rafa and Pam for your comments, and we'll see you over.
And if you haven't liked and
Oh, yes.
subscribed, please do so. We're trying to get to 300 subscribers. Eventually, we would like to get to 1,000 on this English channel so we can monetize.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll see you over there in a few seconds. I'm ending it now.
And I'll switch over to Rumble.
You have to stop until it stops before you say Rumble.